host of the Gridiron.
All right, welcome to the Gridiron, baby. If you can give this video a thumbs up or maybe share this video, that would be absolutely phenomenal. If you subscribe to my channel, thank you. Now, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way, next time I go live or if I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. It's totally free of charge. What do you got to lose? But if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you. If you want to help support my channel out, in the description box below, I believe it's the very top link in the description box, takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. Each one has their own little perks to them. So once again, if you want to help support my channel out, it would mean so much to me. And I would thank you in advance. Thank you. And then finally, just underneath that, there's another link in the description box. Takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. Each one has their own little perks to them. So once again, if you want to help support my channel, it would mean so much to me, right? And I thank you. And finally, underneath that, there's an additional link. It takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. We have over 9,500 members in the group. It's doing simply marvelous, might I add. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing, and if I got internet access, I put stuff in this group darn near 365. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. Please join it. You will not be dissatisfied. I promise. All right. Well, as we're getting near to the 3 games to go. Thank God. As this season comes to an end for the Giants, thank God. I didn't get a chance to see it, but it was a real good Thursday night game between the Chargers and the Broncos. I mean, good division there. I mean, both. We got the Chargers and the Broncos are both 9-6, and of course the Raiders. I don't think they'll ever win a game ever again. Next 300 years. I mean, they're just that bad. But of course, the Chiefs, thanks to the refs and everything humanly possible, the Chiefs somehow only have 1 loss. I mean, I mean, blocked field goals at the end of the game, fumbled snaps that the Chiefs recovered at the end. It's like it's just unbelievable. Absolutely. There's like 4 or 5 teams in the NFL who have not scored 30 points this season in a football game. And there's 4 or 5 teams. I've seen 4 and I've seen 5. But I mean, one of them, the Giants, but like all the teams that have not scored 30 points in a game this season, they're like 2-12, 3-11. Yeah, it's like, that makes sense. You don't score a lot, you suck, and you're gonna have a bad record. But the Chiefs were on the other ones. I mean, it's just absolutely amazing. I mean, they've had a last second scores, field goals to win game. I mean, everything is just so far has just been lining up perfectly for the Chiefs. It's absolutely amazing. We'll have to wait and see what happens with Mahomes, his injury going forward. But I said that's it. They got a couple. I'd say you got Harbaugh. I did a video on him. Right. So they scored 15 points in the final quarter, pulled that game out. So it must have been a really good game. Said I didn't see it, but Harbaugh's done a good job with that team. They were 5-12 last year. They're 9-6 this year. I mean, they got they're going to basically probably double their win total from last year. I mean, good chance they got at least another win in them. So they're probably going to. They had 5 wins last year. They're going to at least 10 wins this season. And same thing with the Broncos. What Peyton's done. With the rookie quarterback, man, I'll tell you what, tip your cap. I mean, they're looking like they're probably going to get at least 10 wins as well. So, I mean, I got to give Peyton the coach of the year to me anyway. What he's done with a rookie quarterback, Right? You got to give him some credit. But anyway, the New York Giants. I saw this article there. What has been their biggest mistake since 2020? Well, there's been a lot of them. I mean, this could be, if we went over like each mistake. I mean, each team. There's no team out there that hasn't made a mistake. There's no team out there that hasn't made a mistake each year. Just because the Giants' mistakes have been, like, obviously this season really amplified. It's amazing. I'm saying, obviously when things go bad, as they are for the Giants, you can find obviously plenty of things go wrong. But of course, even in the New York market, even if the Giants were to win the Super Bowl or whatever like that, the press and all that would still find negative things to talk about. But anyway, I mean, it comes with the territory. The Giants have, obviously had a lot of bad things. I mean, Shane's done some bad things. Gettleman's done some bad things. Gettleman's done some really bad things. And of course, Gettleman was one of the, was the GM, right, since 2020. And of course, then, Judge was, one of the coaches as well, too. So, been a lot of things, a lot of bad things go on for the Giants since 2020. But there's one analyst says, like, apparently according to there's one analyst I'll go over. I guess Daniel Jones was not it. I mean, like, yeah, I thought for sure this article would have said Daniel Jones, the contract. But because ESPN says Daniel Jones' extension isn't the Giants' biggest mistake. A recent ESPN column says extending quarterback Daniel Jones wasn't the Giants' biggest mistake since 2020. What could possibly surpass that? I don't know. As New York Giants general manager Joe Shcoen's future hangs in the balance, fans are left reflecting on a turbulent tenure that once again has the draft in focus well before the end of the regular season. Yep. Although he's coming off of easily his best draft class in New York, the departures of running back Saquon Barkley and Xavier McKinney have reflected poorly upon the 2024 season. But letting those stars walk in free agency is more justifiable when one argues they wouldn't be on the next good Giants team. No, I mean, you got to look at it too, is right. You got to look at, Burnsy's been, a lot of it was, I said Shane has his, right. I mean, you look with Saquon, obviously, without question, right. But this is his seventh season, and he's looking for a decent payday. And Shane is, once again, I mentioned this before. I said, you go back over the last bunch of, sorry, buddy, my bad, sorry. You go back, I don't know, 10, 15 drafts, whatever it's been, and you look at the running backs, what the running backs have made for the winning football teams and in the Super Bowl. And it's not a lot of money. But of course, don't get me wrong, a lot of the winning quarterbacks, are Hall of Fame quarterbacks, and the Giants don't have that. So when you have a Hall of Fame quarterback, you don't need a Hall of Fame running back. Right? Now, they used to say Saquon without question makes his offense better, makes the team better without question. One of the things that Saquon a lot was he get injured, right? Everybody seems to, I don't know what it is, that they have certain pixie dust over there in Philadelphia, but everybody seems to stay healthy over there. I mean, they're nowhere near as decimated as the Giants are. And I'm going to talk about this in my last portion of the program. But, everybody's just, smell like roses over there in Philadelphia. I don't know how. I don't know how they can go out there and play a 60-minute game of football and everybody runs off the field and everybody's just hunky-dory. And meanwhile, the Giants, we're going to go over their injury report. It's like, it looks like a mass unit. I have no idea. Yeah, no idea. But I said Shane had his, had his numbers, and he wasn't going to pay a safety $17 million a year. And he did offer Saquon a nice little contract. Whatever, we got to go back, a year or two ago, but Saquon turned it down. And then after the season was over, I guess it was, then Shane offered him something else, but it was a lot lower because Shane seemed to have all the power, and then they franchise tagged him, right, for the one season. And then, but he did offer him, pretty something comparable to what the Eagles offered him, and he didn't take it. Now, why he took it with the Eagles and then want to take it with them? Who knows? Don't know. But Shane has his reasons. He has, his certain values on each position, what he's willing to spend, and but you got to look, also is that he brought in Burns, right? We have, you can maybe say now we have one good edge rusher. I'm not sure what's going on with Kayvon. He's going to be another portion of our program too, talking about Kayvon there. But now we have one really, really good edge rusher who's playing through a lot of pains and nicks. I mean, he was banged up ever since, in training camp. He's had problem with him all year long, and he's always been out there playing. Right, so you got to give him a lot of credit. He's been playing his rear end off. Said I can't say that so much about Kayvon, but every team has done certain things, and every year. I mean, obviously this year that's been amplified, obviously because Saquon's doing as well as he is with the Eagles, and McKinney's all those interceptions he has with Green Bay. Right. I mean, of course, he had 5 in the first 5 weeks of the season, but in the last 10 or weeks or so, whatever it is, he's only had 2. So it is what it is. But we drafted Nubin to replace McKinney. We drafted Tracy, who's, he was a 5th round pick. He wasn't the 2nd overall pick. He was a 5th round pick. Nubin and Neighbors were also on course, right, on a path to do something that's only been done 2 times before in football, I guess professional. I mean, one was in the AFL, one was in the NFL, right? It's only been done twice before, right? And that's 2 rookies reach 1,000+ yards in a season, total yards in a season. I guess meaning running and receiving. So we have a running back that, granted, if we had could open up the holes that the Philadelphia Eagles line does with Saquon, would have even a lot more yardage. He'd have if he was on the field with the 2 wide receivers they got and all that stuff, and he'd probably have even more receptions. He has over 900 total yards so far. If he was on the Eagles, Tracy, he'd add even more. He'd be well over 1,000, I'm sure by now. Right, if he had the lion's shares of the snaps like Saquon does, right? Tracy would have well over 1,000 yards right now. And Tracy costs, I don't know, what 800,000 or 900,000, whatever his draft value is. Saquon costs $13 million. So Saquon costs 13 to 14 times what Tracy does. Is Saquon producing 13 to 14 times? No. And once again, Tracy has over 900 yards right now total. If Saquon was on the Giants right now, would Saquon have the same kind of numbers he does with Philadelphia the Giants? No, of course not. No, just it looks so bad because he's on a much better team. He's on a much better team, and I've said this a trillion times, and I will say this till the day I die: that there's no salary cap there. Howie Roseman's done a good job developing a very good team, but it's because he brings in all these people and he pushes all their salaries down the road. And he owes Jalen Hurts is like $97.5 million in 2028 or 2029, something like that. I mean, they just all their salary just pushed all down the road. So when you do that, you can keep bringing good players in. Right? There's no salary cap there. He owes like $400 million in futures contracts. Just pushes everything down the road. It's all about now. That's why his team looks so good. That's why I said, man, why are the Eagles so good? And we stink. Well, I mean, they did a good job of drafting. I said, their offensive line coach is probably maybe the top 2 in all of football. Dirty G-Man, happy holidays. Ho, ho, ho. They got a very good team, and they just keep bringing in good players. But I said there's no salary cap on the Philadelphia Eagles. There is none. Right? The Giants don't have the same good team that they have. They had a good draft as well, too. Got to give them some credit there. But, Shane put values. And, as I said, let's see. What does Xavier McKinney got here? Xavier McKinney. All right, let's see. What's he got as far as tackles this year? Let's see. Because, Newman was leading the team. He got tackles here? He has 75 tackles. And was he a 7? He still has 7 interceptions. So, the first 2 games of the season, right? First 5 games, I think he had interceptions, McKinney. Right? So he has 75 tackles, and Newman had over 100, I think it was. Let's see if I can. Now, this, of course, is according to Pro Football Reference. Now, of course, Newman, won't be getting any more tackles. Newman had 98 in 13 games. Xavier McKinney has 75 tackles in 14 games. Right? So, if Newman played last week against the Ravens, right, he would have had a ton more tackles. So Newman would have had well over 100 tackles. So Newman would just say it had 105 tackles if he played, if he didn't get injured in 14 games. Xavier McKinney has 75 tackles. Newman's got 30 more tackles, right? But, well, of course, what makes McKinney, he's all these interceptions. But, he's, I'll still take it 10 ways to Tuesday, don't get me wrong, but he's only had 2 interceptions in the last, 9 weeks. I'll take that, especially because our team stinks, right? But the lion's share he's had 5 in the first 5 weeks, I think it was, and ever since then he's only had 2, right? He has 75 tackles. The guy we drafted him, who costs 18 to 20 times less the money than Xavier McKinney, would have about 30 more tackles than McKinney. So the guy replacing McKinney has more tackles, right? So it is what it is, right? It would be nice if we could get some guys in there who can actually intercept the passes, and you would think with Bowen's defense, right, more of a, not so much of a man-to-man, more of a kind of a zone kind of guy, you figure would maybe pick off some more passes, but that's just not the case. That's not the case. We're on par to tie an NFL record, I think, with 2 interceptions in the whole season. So far, we have still got 3 games to go. So anything's happening. Anything's possible. Maybe we can get an errant pass or a tip pass or something like that and pick it off. But all right, so let's see. Let's see. For that, Shane's biggest gaffe, extending quarterback Daniel Jones, is to blame. New York was always going to extend Jones after the 2022 played host to a surprise playoff run and the most efficient year of Jones's career, but the results have been predictably sour. With a crash landing in 2023 and his benching at the bye week of week 11, less than 2 years after his contract, he was released. However, ESPN recently ranked the biggest mistakes each team has made over the last 5 years. New York's biggest blunder, as it turns out, wasn't under Shane. Former general manager Dave Gettleman signed receiver Kenny Golladay to a 4-year, $72 million contract in what proved to be among the worst signings in the franchise history. Well, but that was 4 years, $72 million. Daniel Jones was 4 years, $160 million. Galladay it was $18 million a season, right? Daniel Jones was $40 million a season. So, says the former Lions wideout had missed most of the 2020 season due to hamstring and hip injuries. Bill Barnwell wrote, a remarkably cold wide receiver market left just about everybody else settling for short-term or modest deals, suggesting that he would follow. Instead, former general manager Dave Gettleman signed him to a deal with $40 million in practical guarantees over the first 2 seasons. It was a contract that showed no regard for the dynamics of what was going on during the 2021 offseason. Barnwell took issue with the signing due to the market it came from, a misevaluation of Gettleman's part, and a whiff at giving Jones a top target that wouldn't be rectified until 2024 when receiver Malik Neighbors entered the fray. Even so, it's hard to list any move overextending one of the league's worst starting quarterbacks. Pressure from the fan base and ownership surely played into the decision, but Shane and head coach Brian Daboll were brought in to develop a rookie passer. Extending Jones may end up costing them that opportunity. Had New York not extended Jones, it could have traded up in the 2023 NFL draft to roll the dice on one of the class's top 3 passers, or it could have signed a cheaper bridge quarterback like Jacoby Brissett and spent the extra cash ensuring stars like Barkley and McKinney eventually stayed in town. The Galladay deal was horrible. That's undeniable. But poor quarterback play has left New York without the ability to play competitive football, hollowing out MetLife Stadium in the process and delaying the inevitable quarterback selection in a class that looks worse than the 2 prior. If Shane doesn't draft the face of the franchise in April or get the chance to, he'll have the Jones decision to thank. So, but I mean, as I said, there's, woulda, coulda, shoulda. I know, I certainly, right now, I mean, obviously the Daniel Jones decision to give him that 4 years deal for $160 million certainly does not look good. But you also got to, give Shane some credit. Nobody's giving him any credit. I'm just trying to play, the nice guy here. He had it in the contract where he can get out after 2 seasons. Not 3, not 4, not 39, 2 seasons. 2023, 2024, 2 seasons. And Daniel Jones is bye-bye. Now they're moving on, right? Of course, there's some dead money next season, right? But the Giants will have some money to spend. They're right now, right? They're battling, how do you want to say it, against the Raiders for the top pick or the top 2 picks or whatever, right? It's tough to say. There's no Andrew Luck in this. There's no Peyton Manning in this. There's no John Elway. There's no, you get this quarterback, you're good to go for the next 15. As we've seen in the past, just because you draft a quarterback number 1 does not mean you're going to the promised land. Don't mean that, right? So it does not mean Shador or Ward is taking us to the promised land. But, we're battling head and toe with the Raiders. One thing would be, cataclysmic to the Giants' chances would be possibly winning a football game. If they win a football game with their winning percentage, their opponent's winning percentage is so high, the Giants would plummet from like number 2 to like number 7. And would just fall right out because there would be like 3 or 4 teams in front of them that need quarterbacks. And you can bet your bottom dollar that Ward and Shador would be gone by the time the Giants would draft at number 7. There's other quarterbacks out there you can draft in the 2nd and 3rd round, and maybe one of them might work out. There's bridge quarterbacks Giants could sign, right, for this for the next season or 2 until maybe they get another quarterback. The thing is with that, is you don't know with Shane and Daboll how long their lifespan is with the Giants. Because if they draft a bridge quarterback and we'll wait a couple of years, so we'll get in that draft and we'll get it. If it's not next year, the following year, maybe a couple of years, we'll get that. They may not have that much time. So right now they're in prime position to draft either Ward or Sanders. Now the thing is that just say the Giants want to pick a number 2 and the Raiders number 1. Say the Raiders take Sanders. If the Giants are not enamored with Ward, they might have to pass on him, or maybe take some phone calls, right? Slide down in the draft, pick up an extra pick or 2, let somebody else take Ward, right? And the Giants have to get a franchise or not franchise, have to get like maybe a bridge quarterback or something going forward, right? And they'll have to find their future quarterback some other time. The one thing is that it'd be interesting. What do the Giants? Because obviously free agency is before the draft. Do the Giants go out and try to sign a Sam Darnold for a couple of years? And then try to find their quarterback. That'd be interesting to see, because it's always obviously it's the free agency and then the draft. So it'd be interesting to see the Giants go out and spend big, try to get a quarterback in just to get one in here. And then, also by that time, when free agency does roll around, the Giants will also know, this will be a good indication what they think about the quarterbacks. Say the Giants are picking 2, and all the indications, for whatever reason, say the Raiders are going with Shedeur. So the Giants will be like, well, we probably good chance we're going to get Ward. And we don't like them, right? So you're going to know that before free agency. So before free agency, when free agency rolls around, that's when you go out and you try to bring in, one of these upper echelon bridge quarterbacks just to set yourself up going forward. So that maybe the Giants could pass on Ward, or they bring Ward in and they draft them and they try to, do the best they can with them. But I mean, Shane and Dable, they only got so much time. They got to find themselves a quarterback sooner or later. But in that article, it said the Kenny Galladay, was the worst mistake the Giants had. It's arguable. The Giants made a lot of boo-boos, a lot of bad things. One of the things is that it's easy. It gets pointed out when guys leave the Giants and they go elsewhere and they flourish. It's amazing, and I'm going to bring this dude up a little bit later in our program. But let me just show you. Okay, let me just show you. You don't usually see this from the New York market because it's something positive for the Giants. Right, so you don't usually see this, right? So let me just show you this here. My main man, pots and pans here, if I can find it here. Share screen. Okay, I got 37,000 tabs. Oh, here we go. My man, pots and pans here. I love him. Right, this guy stunk with the Giants. He went someplace else, and he stinks. Right, but nobody brings that up because that makes Shane and whatever look good. So we don't want to. The press don't want to do that. They only want to talk about the negative stuff. But my man, pots and pans, right? Anybody remember this smile? Shane Lemieux. He's with the New Orleans Saints, right? So if we open this up there, right? So it's the 2024 season, right? So look at these grades here. He played for the Saints. He was their center. He played in 4 games, 74 snaps in week 4 against Atlanta, 70 snaps against Los Angeles. Cleveland, he played 19 snaps, week 11. So he's played a grand total of 163 snaps, Shane Lemieux, right? So, just look at the grades, pretty much the same as they were with the Giants, right? 43, 44, 37 pass block grade. Now, you can come down here and look. This is just this is just like, look at this here, 2022. Shane Lemieux, pass blocking grade, a 0. A 0 with the Giants. He's got a little bit, here, now there's 1 week. This was the first week of the season. It was against the Broncos. He played the first quarter of it's when he partially tore his patella. The guy can't even walk and chew gum without getting injured. It's unbelievable. He partially tore his patellar tendon in training camp, like he was tying his shoe, and I think his patellar tendon literally exploded. I can't even talk about this guy. I'm going to go over this guy a little more later on, right? But But anyway, he played 17 snaps. He fared out pretty well against the Broncos in that first quarter, but this was just a small night. There's only one quarter of play in the 2021 season. But I mean, you look here, right? Yeah, since with the Saints, he graded is 43 overall. Overall grade 43. I mean, with the Giants was a 34, 29, and 32. You know what I mean? So Shane Lemieux did go. Giants don't have him. He's someplace else, and he's not doing too well. But of course, nobody brings that up because that's something that makes Shane and all that, look good. He played 4 years with the Giants. They're like, get the out of here, right? And he's going someplace else, and he stinks. So now, does that mean? Obviously, I think if he probably, it's got to do with coaching. If he went with the Eagles because they have a good, phenomenal offensive line coach, he'd probably be doing even a little bit better. But it is what it is, right?